Good.
Everybody good?
Three's back.
Huh?
Okay, I was waiting.
No,
Make sure he's
sorry.
Tell me when you're good.
Just firing off the light there.
Rick and I, we talked a little bit about the Kings yesterday. Just what, how are they different with DeRozan? Obviously, they got a lot of talented, tough coverage to start with. What does he add to what they do, and how is he?
Another proven go-to guy at the end of games, and he can score at any point in the game. So another closer to add to, Domas and Fox, and really Monk is in that category too. And Murray is a guy really on the rise as a player. I'd be surprised if he's not an all-star eventually.
Did we talk about Shepard yesterday, but just to make sure, is he still good to go today?
As far as I know,
Right.
yeah, I didn't even realize he was going to be listed as questionable. So,
Okay.
I think he's okay.
And I know the guys, the two-way guys are all obviously down in Orlando. What kind of value are you seeing for those guys? They've won a couple games down there with the Mad Ants. Basically, those guys have barely had any chance to play any G League time together. Just how helpful was that for them to finally get some of that?
Yeah, I haven't caught up with those games. I haven't seen any of them, but having those guys available to play definitely helps.
Right.
I mean, they've been a little up and down with their win-loss record, but having Freeman, having Jackson, having Newton available, is going to give them a lift, and it's just an opportunity for these guys to play. So it's all good.
Rick, you had talked about the defense has been much better, and that the defense has been much better, and part of that, the players have said, it was just getting out on the practice floor. How important was just getting out on the practice floor the last week or so contribute to that defensive improvement?
Definitely helps. Helps to work on details, helps to compete against each other. And there's nothing like competitive reps to help get better, at all aspects of the game. And it wasn't just defense. We needed to work on both sides of the ball and in situations as well. So it helped us. I'm sure it helped every team that had extra practice time over that period.
Right.
Oh, one more.
It's kind of more of a broader topic in the sense of kind of the parity, especially, I operate in the Western Conference a lot. And can you talk about, from a coach's perspective, like when a team is struggling and when adversity hits, injuries, all those things, kind of the challenges and how, from a coach's perspective, you have to try to kind of keep the collective together?
Well, we've been through it ourselves this year quite a bit, and you have to have a plan for adversity, and that really is to focus on what you have and not what you don't have. And most teams in the league now have good depth. They've got deep rosters, built at least 2 levels deep, and oftentimes 3 levels deep. And those guys on the 3rd level, we've had a lot of those guys playing over the last 2 months, and it's great experience for them, but it brings challenges. So, but that's basically it. It's become a league that is really, it's so close from top to bottom. The margins are so slim that I would imagine through 28 or 30 games we've seen as many clutch games or more than we've ever seen in this league. Through a third of the season, and so you just look at Sacramento. They've had their last 4 games have been clutch games, and I don't know who they played before New Orleans, but these things are all coming down to one possession, and we've had tons of them ourselves. One point, 9 out of our first 10 wins were all clutch games, and so it's great competition. It's great news for the league in terms of parity, because you want that kind of parity in a professional sports league. But when when tough times hit and guys are dinged up, you know, the shift of focus, you know, has got to be toward the things that are available and not the things that aren't available.
Coach, you know, far from your Virginia days, you know, as the league had. I'm sorry. Thank you. I had the league that changed. You do.
It's only been
The
4
uptick-
decades.
Yeah, you're right. The uptick in threes. Do you think that kind of add to the parity in the league?
Well, it's, you know, for teams that are perceived to be more underdog type teams, it adds more variance to the game, and you know those teams on a given night can beat anybody. You know, and I'm not going to name names of teams. It's pretty obvious, you know, and so you've just got to be super alert for everything. You know, there's more 3-point shooting and there's more offensive rebound crashing than there's ever been in the NBA, and those things, you know, bring a lot of variance to the game, which means that if a team gets hot in one or both of those areas, they can have a night where, you know, they could be a big underdog and end up winning big. So it adds to the excitement of the league, but it also can make it a maddening thing from a competitive standpoint.
Thanks, everybody.
Thanks, Coach.